Hi guys, me just listening again, and for this video that I will be dedicating to the Avatar Last Airbender vlogs, I shall be covering chapter 19 of book 1 of this fabulous show called The Siege of the North, Part 1. And this is kind of an important episode because it's the penultimate episode in the water section of this fabulous show. And it's really awesome. But not as awesome as the second part. And let's say that it's really gonna be quite cool. The episode, next one. We first start out with Katara. She loves her waterbending or ice bending skills in front of Master Paco and whipping every boy in the audience, as far as other trainees of Paco go. And he's very impressed by by her progress, and maybe he could be changing his mind on the whole women waterbender type thing. I guess that in the next show with Lord and Korra, I think that he should just shut the fuck up because she's from the Water Tribe and she kicks ass too, besides Katara. But I would say that she got more skill in that because she's at a higher level of Avatar training over Master Waterbending. He's got him beat pretty much. And though imagine that if a Katara were allowed to train more, she probably would be able to beat Paco properly in a battle. Explain with the fact that the trainee was also stuck in the ice like Paco did to Katara during the little match. So that was something really nice. So anyway, Saga is still trying to get on with Yurei, trying to spend time with her. And she keeps on insisting that she's engaged to some guy. And we meet that guy later on in the episode, and he turned out to be a real jackass. Like, we've all met those type of people who, you get attached to somebody, you really like them for who they are, but they're engaged or they got a boyfriend or whatever, and the boyfriend is a complete jerk off to the point that he likes her only for the perks of being royalty, doesn't give you rats out of that personality, and he also looks down on everybody and calls Sokka a simple peasant or something equivalent to that. Like a nobody, what's the word for? Not a very nice, but like a heroic compared to the people of the north, which has a big city and defense and all that, and big population, whereas people in the south have a very small population, very minimal defenses, and they don't even have a big city. It's loose. So they kind of hate popular Southern mentality. Anyway, they have a thing that the Avatar is so proficient at what he does that he's busy playing around in the snow while Katara and the others are busy having real exploring and training sessions, which is funny, especially when Aang makes himself into a snowman, which is funny because you usually make a snowman out of snow and stuff, so it'd be easy just to make a snowman out of, either water bending or ice bending and snow bending, I'm sure. But to be able to make yourself into one is kind of unique. That and the fact that later on in the show's history, Aang will take this and make dreams like rocks and other material in the same way. So that's kind of funny and unique and comes back later on. But anyway, Sokka tried to get with you again by taking him up on right with ATLA. Now this is a very unique situation here, which I believe is a reference to the movie Aladdin, in which Aladdin takes Princess Jasmine up in the sky on this magical flying carpet, and he also said in a badass way, "Yip yip, the upper, give a go." So it's kind of funny. She is like sexy type yip yip voice, kind of being sly. So then we realized that because the soot in the atmosphere around the North Pole, that the Fire Nation ships are coming aboard, and they're coming by fast. At first they don't want one ship, but then it multiplies to be like about, I'm gonna say 50 or 60 ships altogether that try to take over the North Pole, and try to take on St. Claus. But in any case, and she's all the soot and the smog and the pollution in the area too. What a great idea for a harbinger of doom and destruction to be pollution, like with hexes and fungi and fire and pollution and other media too. So it's the perfect way for them to show that this is happening and that it's all cause of the Fire Nation coming close by. So, at first, Aang is doing pretty good against one ship, taking out their trebuchets or catapults for those who don't know what trebuchets are. And it's actually pretty good because they have one guy there wielding double Mjolnir hammers in the style of, say, Kratos, with the chains on his wrist attached to a hammer. Of course, not gonna have the blades of chaos like weapons. They're gonna have more of a full weapon, because it's a show for kids, don't forget. So they're not gonna have too much blood. But they do have a very interesting mechanism, having Appa muscle him and flung over the edge. And yes, even though they talk about battle plans and whatnot to him, Appa still looks derpy as well. So then they show Go and their messing with the trebuchets and ruining all the silent mechanisms, making all the catapults on one ship. shoot downward to try to sink the ship, sink my battleship. But then he realized that only one ship in the tens of dozens of other ships that come in their way. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, to me, I can't do it. I can't do it myself, you know. I am the avatar, but one person, I can only do one at a time. You know, that's getting kind of annoying and desperate. So he plays with UA to let him go into the most secret spot in the entire North Pole. And that's where Santa's workshop is. Yeah, I wish that was the case, but that's not the case. There is no Santa Claus, unfortunately. Not even in the Avatar world. But I'll get to the sacred green spot later on. Now, they also have a thing where Sokka is going to join the army, as it were, and because he's no bending powers, so he's with the other people. And this is a very important thing because he gives the army members very important information about the General Zhao and the other Pride Nation stuff. He also gives them information about the Fire Nation uniforms too, right? Which I didn't notice at first, but the uniforms that they have from the Fire Nation are from like 85 years ago. So it's been quite a few years since that happened. They've updated their uniforms, they updated their codes, they update their protocol too, to make newbies like these guys figure out that it's not really gonna work out. It might work way back when, but nowadays, no, this won't work. And they've also getting that big fight over UA because Sokka sees that the guy's a jackass. And the chief of the military over there takes him off the force for selfish reasons because he wants Sokka to protect his daughter. Yeah, that's fair enough. Meanwhile, a whole lot episode was that you see that Zuko hit the ship as one of the underlings, and he is going to ambush the Avatar on his own, take him from the zone before Zuko gets him, take him on. And the thing is that with Zhao, he's like very cocky, very arrogant, and very he's more in for it for being like the first person to do this, to take on the North Pole and win. And he even rubs it into his face, into Iroh's face about that I'm gonna be so much better than you are because your failure boss can say was epically legendary. You feel big time. You're a poopy head. You're this and that. But whereas Iroh says no. History is very rarely kind to its participants. So in other words, he foresees that General Zhao, which the Sokka's rival, has pronounced Zoe as Zui or something like that. And it's so wrong. He's so arrogant that he's blinded by his own for his own greed and own ambition. So anyway, Iroh says that because the waterbenders get their power from the moon and they get the highest amount of potential and power during the full moon at night, which makes sense. I'm gonna lie, that makes sense a lot. And the moon was like the first waterbender out there. The whole front the attack until the daybreak. And I said, okay, I'll do that. But first, let me launch some fireballs at the giant breakwater or giant wall, particularly the city first. Let me weaken the structure a little bit. So he does, and the people on top of the bridge there, the wall bridge there, they don't scared there. They just take it full front. And I said to myself, what do you expect? You're gonna get plastered by a big fireball. Move out of the way a little bit. Move a little aside, And I mean, I know that it's being brave, but there's also being stupid about it too, You should move out of the way of a giant fireball. And Pagu, basically the waterbending master general and such, he says put out the fireball before it does damage another one. So they erect ice to make sure it stops. So that's good. But that night, the guy Zuko ends up going underwater into the area that infiltrated silently among all the big ships and just waiting for attack to attack. Now, this is very precious that it shows that in a great war, and I'm personal that when Zhao was making fun of Iroh, he knew that the attack on Washington was a tremendous failure for Iroh, but he also didn't, I don't know, just like insult the injury type of thing, or put insult on the wound or whatever. But it's also mentioned later on in the show's history that during that big arc, the big conflict with Washington, Iroh's son died in the process. So I don't know if it was just is that more willing to fire, if you will, no pun intended, to Iroh, or if he just didn't know that. But anyway, that was a big personal day to him. In any case, he said that because of what happened in the past, I consider you my son, Zuko, the way he said, no, you don't need to say anything, Uncle, I know you love me a lot. And just like a mother hen, he says, no, don't forget to use your inner breath, your fire breath, keep you warm. Now, to his very little credit, when M. Night Shyamalan made the last Airbender movie, he did Iroh's and they did Iroh and Zuko's relationship pretty well at war with that. Also, Iroh's spirituality, it did pretty well too. But everything was pretty much shit. Although I will give him credit that he did do an attempt to create the big climax of this book, probably it came out like crap. But it was an attempt was somewhat of a good thing. So anyway, if you Zuko go in the water to do the pulling a bunch of they call sea lion turtles, or maybe silk turtles. Anyway, he goes in there. He says, cold, as he's in the water, cold and wet and everything, and goes up into the air. Which I actually heard that when you do that, it's colder to stay it's better to stay in the water, moving around and stuff, rather than being in the cold air, sopping wet. But maybe that's because of the firebending that I can get away with that kind of stuff. So anyway, he emerges into a drainage pipe made of ice in the city of the city. And it's quite funny because when he's going up, when he putting his palms up, he's showing the heat in that area. It doesn't really match what comes up from the surface, if you know what I mean. Like, look at the plane under the water, but when you go up into the surface area, it's a big pipe. So I don't get where the anime did this got from. I know that there are some things in other media where they do that thing, where they do like an underwater shot, and they go through the ice, and it's different from what we expect. Well, I don't know, it's weird. They also have the ice that they call the first ship in, was very similar to what they experienced a long time ago. We were frozen over Fire Nation ship. In any case, during this entire part, you see the main occupant force staying back, and then wait until daybreak to come over, and I don't see actually anything happening during that time. And then it show Yui forcefully getting away from Sakura because she's engaged to that jerk. Even though Sakura is like the master trainer, like favorite pupil because of all of his knowledge and all of his information concerning the Fire Nation struggle from the past. And let's say here, Aang goes to the secret spot underneath all the ice, and it's like if you pin out from the green spot, it looks like a strip line, if you will, from the ice to the ground. And it's actually kind of interesting because it's the most spiritual place in the entire world, in the entire North Pole, according to UA. And she said something about that we get a life and spirit from the moon and from the ocean, respectively, I think. So that doesn't really what kind of it's spiritual, if you will, and it ties into the yin and yang, and then with the Tao and Taoism too. So that's really nice. Plus, I like the way the little full space that Aang gets into the secret area. Looks like what you would expect from an old Japanese tea house. Where you gotta go into like a little crevice area into the main spot. But more importantly, okay, this is the most important thing, but Katara and the others make note of this, that it's warm and sacred in the air and green, to which Hank said, I never thought would mess you up so much. You've only been there for like a week or two, so can't miss that much. In any case, there have been studies in which there have been like big glacial deposits or big ice packs, but underneath it is warm. So that's a real life phenomenon. But I just don't know why they would have that when it's open on top. Where air currents can get over the wall that got there, and it can go on from the top from the enclosure downward. That doesn't make much sense that it'd be that warm over there. I mean, if it was enclosed like a giant igloo, that'd be something different. I can understand that being protected from the air currents and the weather and stuff like that. But further on the point is that they say that Antarctica, underneath all the glacial areas, is somewhat livable. People like to speculate. So, I'm not saying tropical or anything like that, but it's livable there for bacteria or multicellular organisms or something along those lines. So, that's something like promising. So anyway, and does his little, avatar fist bump thing there. And he goes over there. But to women, you wait in Qatar, talking blah 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 about all this stuff. And he says, you guys get quiet over there and try to meditate. That's funny. He joined that princess and his would-be girlfriend. So that's kind of funny. Although granted, he is trying to meditate and trying to go into the avatar state and converse with the spirits. So that can be a little annoying at times. But let's see here. Well, I like the way they show that you would actually strip down her royal robes, and I like the way Katara actually puts up a good fight with Zuko there, a big master firebender. And it's quite funny because in the show, in the cartoon, she actually puts up a good fight. She actually freezes to the wall, and then go like a water sphere and stuff to really show the power of a waterbender under the influence of a full moon. And that's actually really something. So then you see that he tried to move his angry body, which if he disconnected, that'd be like disconnecting anchor to the real world, which is a bad thing. It somewhat resembles what they did in Korra with that whole thing, but in this one it's more like an introduction to that, more like that this is the first time he's purposely going into the spirit world, and the first time I'm with that extent, the high body or whatever the creature was. But that's something doing it on purpose. Which begs the question, what was it when you were trying to converse with Avatar Roku and the other avatars? Anyway, I'm getting too much into this. But it was actually pretty fun to see Avatar and actually doing this with the protection of his woman there. And under a full moon, so she's really super powered. And I don't think she could take on, she beat Zuko. And then the next day, he gets pummeled because, like Zuko said, you rise with the moon. I rise with the sun, which makes sense that the sun would provide a boost to Zuko and other firebenders. Then they show Zuko taking over and taking his body, taking him to the top of the mountain, and then carrying him over to wherever he's going to carry him to. It shows Zuko's strength more than anything else, physical strength, as well as his key control. They can survive in cold weather and all that. I don't know what they did with Yue in this part, but he had talked to one of the fish in the water, which formed a nice little blood point, which formed a very nice little yin yang symbol, which is really nice, really spiritual. It ties in with the Eastern philosophy of yin yang, dualism, and Taoism plus Taoism too. It's teaching kids about those things even without them even knowing about it. Like, oh, cool symbol, what does that mean? It means that kids will be asking questions about, what this is, what it means, what is the spiritual meaning behind something like that. Or can someone really be a fish spirit or a moon spirit? So that would be pretty nice. Although I would assume that Aang would be cold, because he's only wearing his monk's robes during this time. So I don't get how he's not cold. The other people would be cold. Zuko was cold, and he wore about the same thing, and he's a firebender. Imagine how Aang must feel being a non-firebender, having to do all that cold. I mean, now, Katara and Yue have the parkas on, their fur coats on, but Aang does not squat, and he's just sitting still like this all the time. So, yeah. Plus the fact that the body did get moved around, so I don't know how they're gonna figure that out, how they're gonna solve that little problem in the equation. How they can find his body, unless in the spirit realm there's like some kind of a GPS device for his body and stuff. But yeah, and also I wonder what the hell happened to Appa. I mean, it's obvious he came to the tunnel hole, but yeah. But wait, we're talking when Appa was talking with Sokka come over and he tackled him and then looked at him almost to death in front of Yue. It was really cute. And what was even more cute was that she was like, is it always cold up here? And flying with Appa. No, it's not always cold up here, especially when you're with somebody. That was really cute. That Sokka was trying to crush on the Princess Yue. Anyway, we could be the end of the episode where Zuko has Aang, his body at least, and then the waterbenders in the city being overrun by the firebenders, the final ancient army, and Zuko's ship, the final ships crashing into the big wall there, almost like they were designed for that, and then crashing downward using the tip of the spear, the tip of the bow to be as the below icebreaker. It's one function seems to be doing that to icebreak. It's very quite interesting to see that fire is the opposite, the equal and opposite force as say fire and water are the opposites. So that's pretty fascinating. I wish it took advantage of that more in Ghost Rider when he fought the water demon, but they don't take advantage of it. It's just until he boiled the water demon away. And that's when they did play around with it a lot more, saying that because they were at night, the fire nation should just stay away from it. Whereas that will take care of that soon enough. But they say that during the day they're unstoppable by waterbenders. It shows a little bit of complexity and stuff too. So in any case, I thank you for watching my little vlog episode on book 1 of this February show, chapter 19 of this book, called The Siege of the North, Part 1. It really shows a good militaristic thing, like we're gonna siege this city right now, and it will become part of the Fire Nation Empire. Which, speaking of which, I'm actually really surprised that the Fire Nation hasn't tried doing this to the North Pole sooner. I mean, they already did to the South Pole. So maybe it's because of the numbers and not superior defenses they were able to get away with this. And by the way, what happened to all the waterbenders and icebenders from the previous episode with hanging out by all those people? When they put a fight against the Fire Nation expedition, the first force, the exploratory force. That's a good question. Why didn't he do that before? What happened to the ATLA or scout type of defenses? But anyway, I give this my happy face to Povo, because this episode is more a preamble, and the Siege of the North 2 is kind of like the main course that you both listen to the appetizer and setting up everything cool that goes on, and the next one is basically the main course. So, if you like what you hear, you want to see more of my videos, you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. And also, contact me by calling me on my phone number at 631-707-3707 to make any future commentary or any type of question or anything else, or give me an idea for the next video of mine. What you can always follow me on Twitter or X if you prefer at PMeltonPro. Also, you can get me on my email at jjsviewingchannel@gmail.com. So, it's all you guys who like the Avatar show. It's a great show. any animation buffs out there like me, or like any type of Northern Siberian or Northern Canadian Inuit or Eskimo culture. I salute you guys. Peace out, my brothers and sisters. Aloha, all you girls and guys in Insuland. I'll see you in the next video. Sayonara.